We're live. There we go.
Oh,
Hello and welcome to the Enlightenment Exchange, where we have, I love this new thing, we're calling it a Mystic Roundtable, where we have conversations about all kinds of different things in the spiritual realm. And we give our thoughts, opinions, and what resonates with us in the hopes that you figure out what resonates with you. Because that's really important. Not what other people think you should think, but what you think, actually. So anyway, so we decided, I'm surprised that we haven't seen, we went a little, we started a little late, so we might have thrown our loyal listener into a little bit of a tizzy. But anyway,
quick texter.
If this interests you at all, please hit that subscribe button and the notification button so you get notified when we go live. Oh, and I think maybe there she is. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the very first thing I want to talk about, and it's mostly because we want to talk about spiritual entrepreneurship and not really how necessarily to do it or, social media ads or email lists or anything of that nature, but kind of where do you need to be in order to be successful and abundant as a spiritual entrepreneur. And there were a couple of things that came up in a mastermind that I was in last night that I found really interesting. And the very first one I want to talk about is clarity on what you offer, being clear about your offer on what you do, being clear. And if somebody asks you, what do you have sort of a blanket statement that you use to answer that question? And I'm here to tell you that I've been struggling with that question forever because I'm a Reiki master and I'm an Amakua Key Master instructor and I'm a crystal healer and I'm an Akashic record reader and I'm a spiritual empowerment coach. And how does that all fit together? And one of the most interesting things that I got from this conversation last night was the people that you're trying to sell your services to, they don't care what you do. They only care if you can help them. So is it important that you rattle off a list of I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and run the risk of sounding like you don't even know yourself what you do? Or is it better to say, I'm Angie, I'm a spiritual empowerment coach, and I do that using all kinds of intuitive methods that I've studied over the years. And my real jam is finding and drawing out the teachers that are hiding in the realm of the student.
That says so much of what you do and who you can help.
And it's like right there. So John, if I ask you, what do you do? Not in the Muggle world, but in the woo-woo world.
For me, it's pretty easy because, well, I guess I've got two things. I'm an author and I read tarot.
Right.
I really limit it to those two things.
Okay. So what does it sound like?
I'm an author and I read tarot.
Okay. And what does that mean to me?
Oh, I see.
What is their transformation?
Got it. If you have questions.
What do you love? What do you love? What do you love about reading tarot?
That I can help people answer a burning question or get clarity on it's more getting clarity on a situation.
So that's really the answer. I'm John and I'm an author and a tarot reader. And my jam is getting people answers to those burning questions that are making them, lose sleep at night or something of that nature. Right.
Yeah.
It was just so interesting to listen to how that goes. So Melanie, what do you say?
I say that I help successful, purpose-driven entrepreneurs rediscover the spark that started their business and why they do their business. Because a lot of times they get so caught up in this marketing guru told me to do this and this business person told me to do that. And they do it all and it works because it does. But they, those strategies and things work. But all of a sudden they find that they're hating their business. So I help them connect back to their purpose of their business.
And just me, because I'm neurodivergent, I'm gone already.
You got bored?
I'm gone already.
Did I leave the iron on?
And the thing of it is, I know what you do, and I know how exciting what you do is.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, isn't it interesting how just this one little thing can really make a change with how you engage with people, you know? I mean, I heard people say, well, I have this on my website and it's this and it says this, and I list all the people I study under. And that was another thing that was interesting that he said was, you don't need to mention who you studied under. The only thing mentioning who you studied under does for anyone is for the person that you studied under.
Right.
It may also help with proof, you know.
Right.
Not really.
But that is your imposter syndrome speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how he put it. Is that, you know, I mean,
I got something to add to this.
Sure.
When I was studying marketing a while back, the guy I was studying under said, okay, he comes from psychology. He said, here's what psychologists put in their ads. Joe Schmo psychologist PC dot comma X21 comma, you know, all these credentials afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was their ad. And he's like, so he made an ad that said, I can fix your marriage. And all the other psychologists were like, that's a horrible ad. And he says, but I'm getting clients because that's what they want. They don't care about all your credentials.
Exactly. But it's that succinct, right? And quick. I am Dr. John Smith and I can fix your marriage.
Yep. That's really clear.
That's it.
Yep.
And I am Angie ZXUH. I'm not even going to mess with my name anymore. People just get too confused. A spiritual empowerment coach, and I can pull you out of the realm of the student if you're a teacher hiding in there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's it.
Yep. I'm John.
And you know, when I said it in that group, I got private messages in the Zoom room saying, "Oh my God, it's like you're talking to me."
Oh, like, that's cool.
Yeah, right.
Validation.
Like, so I finally hit the one, because that one I've been saying it for years, but that came to me like as a part of what I need to do. So my challenge is to do a 30 to 60 second video with this description. So what I have to lay it out. I'm going to write a list, and I can't even make a voicemail message without taking 20 minutes to prepare. So that's just
turn on the teleprompter, get a script, call the director.
I mean, it was so bad. Like, I used to just get other people to do it in my office because I'd be like there for an hour. Oh no, this is no good. Or I'd go, or whatever, like if I didn't write it down, I knew what to say, said the same damn thing every year for 10, every season for 10 years. Like, this is such and such. We open at such and such. Leave your name and your phone number and a good time to call, and we'll get back to you. Like, how hard can it be? But it's really funny how
when you're being recorded,
right? Or when somebody asks you. So this is what I was thinking about when he was talking about all this, is that my answer to you to that question is different. Like, the dentist that owns the building where I have my space asked me, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I have no idea what to say here. Like, I when I first did it, I'm an energy worker, and I would say that to him, and he'd be like, and like, what does that even mean?
Right.
And so it's interesting. Maybe you need to come up with a description that suits two different worlds.
Right. Mm-hmm. The inside, the words for the inside crowd and the words for the outside crowd.
Right. Like, it's, now this person lives in LA and has an awful lot of opportunities that are not available to somebody that lives in rural Illinois, talking about, running across people and meeting people in restaurants and being at dinner things and all this stuff. And naturally, I mean, I'm John, I'm suspecting you probably don't have it there so much either.
Right. I'm real careful with who I tell and how I phrase it.
Right. And well, I remember you saying about how somebody left you a little breadcrumb.
Yes, in a conversation.
So I
that's
think
how we do things around here in Michigan.
Yeah, right. I think that's
conversation.
Really interesting. And I think it depends on the situation, right? Like, if I'm at a family party that's got a bunch of people I don't necessarily know, I don't care what those people think. But if I'm in a job, right? Or if I don't do it anymore, but when I used to go to companies and, help them sort out their books or whatever, which I'm not even an accountant or a bookkeeper, but they all think I'm wonderful. I would never say, oh, let me consult the cards and see what I need to do next.
That would be awesome. I kind of wish I'd done that once in a while with my IT business. Excuse me, let me consult the cards. Like, no, you need to get rid of that computer.
Oh my God. Like, could you write a deck like that?
Oh, wow. Like the IT deck. Man, that sparks an idea. That would
I
be
know,
so
right?
funny. That would be so funny. There's be like
But
two people in the world that would
if
buy it.
if you really thought about the things you hear a lot, like maybe you should turn it on and off, things like that, and you put that in the deck, I bet you could make a pretty accurate deck. I mean, you probably can't diagnose, server issues with a deck.
What if I had some cards that were really clear IT advice and some cards that were really esoteric, like, put it on.
Get
Put
your
it
own
under the
energy under
moonlight.
control.
Say
Get
what?
your own energy under control.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I did have some weird ones. I had a
Get the
computer
clear
that
quartz away from your computer.
I cleaned up a computer, like reinstalled it like 2 or 3 times, and every time I came back, it was all messed up and like viruses, and like something's weird about this one. Something's really weird about this one, and it wasn't the user because he didn't have the smarts to actually infect it that bad. And I was like, all right, this is not a normal situation. There was something weird about it.
Yeah, well, I had a computer back in the day I went through many computers, because I had a computer for everybody that worked in the office. And I remember one had a virus so bad that even when it was wiped, the thing would hide. It was hiding, and it would just reassert itself. So that can happen. But I think that a lot of people, like in our world, could benefit from a deck that says, don't be afraid, just push publish. Or
read the whole screen.
Read the whole, right? Just read the screen.
That was one of my favorite advice. Like, I don't know what
the
to do.
death card.
Oh,
the blue screen. Blue
yeah,
screen.
Right?
The blue screen of death. Oh, wow. Man, you guys, I'm going to do it now. It's such a good idea.
Talk to AI.
If
you come up with the ones that and then if you have trouble filling it in, ask AI.
And I've got a graphic design. Oh wait, actually, don't need a graphics design guy. I can have what is it? I forgot the name of the graphic AI program.
DALL-E.
There's so many.
DALL-E, thank you. The DALL-E is the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, which is embedded in chat. But
yeah.
That I don't know.
That would be fun. It would be fun just to do one.
It would be. I mean, and it would be valuable. So think about this as we're talking about spiritual entrepreneurs, like and some kind of an IT deck, because some of the things that are on my list of things I wanted to talk about today are so fear of social media and fear of technology and what have you. So I mean, you could probably make a deck that would give some pretty good advice, like you can't actually screw it up.
You will not break the internet.
Right? Like,
and USB, it doesn't matter where you plug it in, just pick a port.
Oh yeah, right. I don't know. There was something happened. I want to say it was this camera, which is like USB 3.0, and I had it in a 2.0 slot or something, and it didn't work. Remember?
Okay, there is that. I'll give you that one.
But here, how about this with the USB? Just flip it over again, because sometimes twice doesn't work.
Have you seen
that? Could be the Hanged Man. Flip it over.
Wrong, right.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I mean, it should only be 2, but
it's always 3.
Right? Like, what is the deal with that? Either you get it on the first try, or you have to flip it over and flip it back. I don't get it. Anyway, so I think that's a really good idea.
I'm going to take that and run with it.
I think you should. I think that it would be, you have to come up with some kind of, let's not give away all your secrets on the air
Okay.
in a video.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so one of the other things that I was thinking about with this is, and it's, some things that I hear in many, many places that I'm in, is that fear of technology and the fear of social media. I don't understand why people are afraid of social media. I don't get it.
Me either.
I mean, I literally don't get it. John, you are the most compassionate person
Same.
I know. Why are people afraid? I mean, I get not liking it. I get not understanding it. But I don't understand the fear. I don't understand the fear.
The fear, I believe, it comes down to the complexity of the screen. The screen comes on and you've got a button, a little button, another thing. Things are popping up, a little column of these. And people look at that and they're like, I don't even know where to start. What are all these things? I actually had a client this week that asked those questions. Can you help me figure out LinkedIn? And I'm like, what's to figure, internally, what's to figure out?
Yeah,
and she logs on and she says, what is this? I'm like, oh, well, that's da 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 da. And what is this? Well, that's where you put in a message. And who are all these people? Well, those are people that LinkedIn is suggesting that you might be able to connect with. Who are these people?
Oh, so
it might be overwhelm. Like there's
it's like
what is this?
overwhelm.
I have to learn this. I have to learn that. You don't have to learn where the messaging is unless you're going to message. You don't have to learn who the recommended connections are until you actually are going out to make connections and network.
Right. But it's not obvious to someone that this you can ignore, but you need to do this first.
Right.
And if I'm honest, you're right. LinkedIn is not intuitive.
Right.
No,
nor is Facebook
terrible.
if you've never seen it before.
Yeah, I've been on Facebook for so long.
Sure. But imagine someone coming on for the first time.
Well, I mean, I can put myself into and the truth is I went on LinkedIn and now I just got to figure out how to get myself off because I keep getting these emails of people that want to connect with me. And I'm like, why? I'm not doing anything on here.
Because they're getting the recommended connections.
Right. Exactly. Of course. But, and it's a lot of people I know, but I just, it's not fun. It's not interesting.
One more thing to do.
Right.
Well, LinkedIn isn't really a social media. It's a networking platform. There is a big difference between.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course. And that's why I don't want nothing to do with it. It's not fun.
Although funny, just mentioning this.
Exactly.
While I was trying to kind of build out my network in the spiritual world, I found out there's a huge group of psychics that have a very active community on LinkedIn. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool, and I joined it. And I'm, I get their messages, and people chit chat a little bit. I don't participate a lot, but I was kind of happy that there was such a thing on LinkedIn.
Yeah, there's definitely a space for spiritual people there.
Yeah,
you just have to find them.
And again, not really intuitive on how to go about doing that. I mean, I know I can figure it out. I don't need anybody to tell me how to do it. I don't need anyone to tell me how to fix it. I can handle it my own self, but it's not eminently evident that it's even worth my time.
Right. That's another key thing is I had that instance where way back when Twitter was live and kicking. So there were, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then this thing called Periscope showed up.
Oh, I remember that. It did not last long.
No, but my one of my favorite entrepreneur friends came over and says, "You're not on Periscope yet? What's the matter?" I'm like, "No, I cannot do another one." And she was like posting all the time and videos and getting links and connections. And I was like, "Boy, am I an idiot here?" And I put it on my list. By the time I got to it, it was gone already.
I think that's another fear. In addition to the overwhelm of each individual platform and not knowing what to do, there's the overwhelm of I have to be on all of these platforms at once.
Be everywhere.
And that's an even bigger overwhelm. And
but those are overwhelms. They're not fears.
Well, another fear, I think, is a fear of exposing yourself. I mean, I've had that. If I post this, I'm going to hear about it from people.
Okay, but
I
guess.
I think that's what some people are scared of.
You know what? And I'm inclined to agree with you. And maybe it's just I don't care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I'll say anything. I mean, no, that's not true. I won't say anything. Because I don't respond to negative posts.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
comment on things I disagree with. I curate my page. It's very curated. I mean, if you look at, you see funny things, you see dogs, too many lost dogs, if you ask me, but that's important for that algorithm, right? Like, you know, I share that. So,
you know, on my
what is, if you expose yourself, if you put yourself out there on social media, what is going to happen?
You could be ridiculed. I think that's a fear that a lot of people have. You could be ridiculed. You could be, it's the witch wound popping up where I'm going to be persecuted. It's
Here
an
we go
old,
with the witch wound now.
it's an old wound that needs to be healed. I think people have that subconscious, like, I'm going to be persecuted. It's one I struggled with and had to heal. I'm just telling you my experience and what I think, what my perspective and
you
my
know what?
fears.
But I don't think that's a witch wound. I think that's childhood trauma.
Could be, yeah.
So I mean,
any kind of
and
trauma.
for me, I mean, I was ridiculed, I was bullied, I was made fun of, I was all those things when I was a kid, and I'm big now.
Yeah.
So screw you. If you don't like what I have to say, the hell with you, get the hell off my page. That's me.
Yeah, but not everybody is healed.
I understand that. That's why I don't get it. Right. Like, that's why I don't get it. So that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. And you know, that's where you have to, I mean, you have to understand something to be able to find compassion for it. Although I have to tell you, I'm sick of hearing about the witch wound. People,
well, then I'll never say it again. In
constant. Well, no, I mean, it's just Val and I were talking about it. She said the same thing. Constant marketing about heal the witch wound and heal the money wound and heal this and heal that.
I don't
and
like that.
They're continually telling you the reason that you're not making it in business, the reason that you can't be a good spiritual entrepreneur, the reason that you need to hang on to your imposter syndrome is because there's something wrong with you.
Right. That's just negative marketing.
No.
So, right. I mean, to me, it's disempowered. The reason you can't make any money in your job is because you have a witch wound, because you're damaged.
But we'll fix you.
You know what I mean? Like, do you see like that, and you know what that is? That's snake oil, John.
I know.
Yeah. But I approach it from not, this is what's wrong with you. This is a limiting belief. Let's shift your perspective.
Oh, absolutely.
Not that anything's wrong with somebody.
That's how you do it. But what we're saying is that it's all over the, you know, and people look at that and say, oh my God, I'm wounded.
Right. No, it's just something that needs to be shifted.
Indeed.
That's what I do for my clients anyway.
Well, I mean, that's the idea, right? That's the idea. Shift it. I would like to empower everybody to say, screw you.
Yeah.
I'm me, but you know, I know I can't do that. So
there's limiting beliefs. And I think having a business will bring up a lot of your limiting beliefs, and more than like real life, more than your personal life.
I agree with that. The entrepreneur community I'm in, the leader says a lot about, you know, he calls it head trash. And he says the gist of it is something like, if you really want to know what you're struggling with, start a business. And
100%.
every one of those deep-seated resentments and angers and hurts is going to come to the surface during that.
Yeah. And then you can
the truth
to your personal life, to your day-to-day life. You know, it's like,
business
this is the money limiting beliefs that I had around money. This is why I'm not, you know what I mean? This is the limiting belief I have around exposing myself. And
don't you think that a limiting belief sounds eminently more fixable than a witch wound that you have no idea where it came from?
It's like, right here on my palm.
I have a freckle right here.
Like, I mean, it's just, you know, I guess, you know, it's the whole 5D, 3D thing and the whole, you know, etheric and these people who channel these things talking about the end of the world, and oh my God, there's an awakening happening, and who knows what's going to happen, and the whole entire planet is going to change because we're leaving the age of this and moving into the age of that. And it's like every time you turn around, people are just trying to scare you.
It's fear mongering. Yeah,
it is.
That's marketing 101. Well, maybe 102.
Well, yeah, and you know that it doesn't work on me, but
no, it doesn't work on Angie.
No,
there's a little footnote in the book.
Yeah, right. Like,
does not work.
Does not. I mean, don't even try. One time, I had to say to a sales lady in the store, "Please, I'm begging you, stop. Please, I'm begging you, stop talking to me." And she kept talking, and I was like, my friend thought we were going to jail, actually, but that's another story for another day. Anyway, so it's really interesting. I have the occasion to run across a lot of people who are, in the spiritual entrepreneur world, in these masterminds that I'm in. I don't think that all of them want to be, and some of them definitely do want to be, big authors and big speakers and
like uber successful.
Right, uber successful. And then I think that other ones, really just want to have a little practice where they help people, and do readings or whatever from day to day. And so do you think there's a model of something like that little one that I'm talking about, that really just can survive on word of mouth and maybe the occasional expo?
Yeah, they actually have a name for it. It's the lifestyle business. It's the business where it is, your lifestyle is more important than, growth at all costs. And you want to maintain your lifestyle, and this business helps you bring in enough income to do that lifestyle.
So whatever that might be.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. And I realized, well, one of the guys I followed years ago said, if all you wanted to do is make $1 million, it's pretty easy to make $1 million, knowing what you're going to have to give up in order to do that.
Right.
So family, time, hobbies, right? And he said, if that's really all you want to do, yeah, you can do that. Most of you don't want to do that, and most of you won't do that because you have other things that are important to you. So that was kind of like, what do you?
That's really interesting. So kind of like wanting to make $1 million to give yourself, I don't know, a better life or whatever, but you have to sacrifice the life that you have in order to get it.
Yeah,
you have to sacrifice everything.
It's like it's a conundrum.
Yeah, I mean, because really, I mean, I suppose that, the thing that everybody's looking for is that unicorn, right? That one book or that one idea or that one thing. But the truth is, there is not really one.
Right.
Nothing, no one thing. I mean, maybe some, but very, very few.
Right. Well, you look at someone like Anita Moorjani, right? She had that amazing experience, that near-death experience, and then was found by Wayne Dyer, who basically, pushed her to publish that book. And that one book made her famous. But those are really rare.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, just because she's famous doesn't mean she's wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I believe that's true. I think she does all right.
I think, yeah, I mean, she has a membership and some other things, but I mean, it doesn't, and especially now, are authors really making the kind of money they once did?
The star authors are, the star authors. Stephen King, he lives like a king, right?
Big names.
You pick a few names that are big names.
I haven't heard of a book of Stephen King's in a long time. I mean, it's not like he gets any airtime or anything. I think
I don't think he needs to write anymore.
No, well, no, and I think that he's got that sort of grassroots following that he would never have to. He never has to do another interview again. He can just list his books, and people get notified. But he had to work really hard to get there.
Yes.
I mean, he gave up a lot, and there were a lot of things that he did while his kids were, kids were little, and I think it caused some friction between him and his wife, who are, I think, still together. But I mean, it's really interesting. Is there a question? Is there a place where it is appropriate for a person who's doing something like this? Because let's face it, we live in a world where having a job that's got benefits is a really good thing, right? Like that's a good thing in this country. You know what I mean? Having a job
Part of your
that's got
pay.
benefits, right?
Yeah.
Regular pay,
Yeah.
health insurance, you know, if you've got kids, insurance for the kids, you know, the ability to save and, you know, that, you know, for retirement or whatever. So is there a point at which somebody should say, oh, yeah, I remember that one too. This is a good one. At which somebody should just look at it and say, do I really want to do this full time, or should maybe I dial it back and make it a side gig that's pleasant and fun and makes me enough money to take my vacations or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
And is everybody actually cut out to be an entrepreneur?
I don't
From
think
a bookkeeping and tax perspective, I'm going to tell you the answer to that is no.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And from a relationship standpoint, I think a lot of people are not cut out for it and would do much better with, you know, the job and a side gig, so that you don't have that constant pressure and worry that, you know, I have to make this business work, otherwise we're going to die.
yeah, right. I mean, for me, I don't have that. I never had that. I didn't have it when I had my tax office. I don't have it now. So I never had that. Although, I mean, the tax office course, I wanted that to be a success, and it was going to be where I could make a substantial amount of money every year and only have to work really hard for 4 months. And then the city.
That is kind of a lifestyle business then.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
as long as you put your lifestyle around the calendar.
right, right. But forget about Christmas, really.
Yeah.
You know, which whatever.
But August is awesome.
Right? Yeah. I mean, especially if you don't do any corporate returns. But anyway, yeah. So I wonder, you know, like somebody like you, Melanie, you're on your own, and you know, like the pressure of that, I can imagine.
Boy, I bet you could speak a lot to that.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, and I'm very much like, I work to live. I don't live to work. And yeah, it's like, I want this business to just adapt to what goes on with my family. My 20-year-old daughter moved out and she texted me last night, hey, can I stop by tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. We ended up going out for a little bit, got some lunch, came back and watched some movies and stuff. And I'm like, and I kind of had that little voice that's always there. Hey, you should be working. You should be working. Why? Because it's between 9 and 5. You know, no,
Right.
What I should be doing is being here with my daughter and spending time with her. That's what I should be doing.
You brought up the freedom thing. There's one element of entrepreneurship that is just trumps everything else. Sorry about using that word. That surpasses everything else, and that is the freedom to run your own schedule. And I'm willing to make a little less than I could in a corporate world in order to literally call my own shots every day.
And that's how I am. To me, I recently had this maybe a month or two ago. I was like, yeah, I could make a lot of money and I would love to have a lot of money and I deserve a lot of money. But I don't want that lifestyle. I don't want to be networking 24/7. I don't want to be hustle in my business and then my kids grow up without me.
Right.
You know, I want the freedom to be able to do whatever with my kids and whatever I want to do. You know, sometimes I take a day off and I'm like, I'm going to go outside in the woods and just be in nature or play with my crystals or my herbs or my tarot cards or whatever.
and it's really necessary for you to be able to continue to do what you do.
Yeah, what you like.
It's really interesting when there is something to that, right? Like having that freedom.
Because that's why everybody wants all the money, is so that they can have the freedom to do whatever they want. Yes. And I think a lot of people put the dollar figure on it and they don't put what is it that they want to feel. They don't want to have to, for me anyway, I don't want to have to answer to somebody else. I want to be able to do whatever I want And I literally just follow what I want to. What do I want to do today? Actually feel like building a web page or doing this or doing that, and then I'll do it. And it's a lot easier. It makes my job fun. It's not a job. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think about, you mentioned the deferred happiness element of making a lot of money. I want to make money. I want to make a lot of money, so I'll be happy.
Right.
And then you're on the kind of the hamster wheel, and
Right.
you have actually eliminated the possibility of being happy.
Well, and here's the thing about that. Happiness is a choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
And
absolutely
if you
and
start with that,
simply a choice.
if you
Mhm.
start with
So-
that, then your choices will lead you to the
Right.
right lifestyle for you.
Right.
Right.
But if
You can
you're,
choose
if
to be.
you, I'm going to lose this one. If
Go
you
ahead.
are looking for freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and then you make yourself obligated to go to a job every day,
Mm-hmm.
what is the polarity of freedom again? Do we remember?
Obligation.
There you
Yeah.
go. One cancels out the other. So in essence, you say to yourself, I want to experience freedom. You are just the other side of it, right?
Mhm.
I
There you
mean,
go.
right?
I'll
If
show
you
you
think
what you don't
about
have.
it,
And you can, you can spend your whole life. I'm going to work hard so I make money so I can be free. And then you get to the end of your life and you're like, now I can't do those things. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because of
You
physical
deferred it too far.
limitations. Yeah. Yeah. And I think instead of chasing that carrot that's, a few years down the road or whatever, choose and find the happiness in the moment.
Mhm. That is the key. That is the key right there.
Mm-hmm.
so interesting that there's something else. There's another one that I really want to talk about when it comes to this, and because this is something I see an awful lot of in this industry. And John, we've talked about it a little bit before. Melanie, I think you too, but I think this is really an important point to drive home. Every time I turn, and I'm in all kinds of different masterminds, website and spiritual business and all these people. Does anybody know of a free plugin that I can use for scheduling appointments to connect with my PayPal? Or does anybody know of a free? Oh, well, I really like Acuity scheduling, but I don't want to pay $10 a month. Or can anybody tell me what I can use instead of Zoom because I don't want to pay for it? And it just seems to me like, there's that old adage, right? You got to spend money to make money, right? So you have that.
Yep.
There's an element of that. And then why and I don't even know if it's a thing anymore, Google Hangouts. Why would you use Google Hangouts?
Yeah, it's Google
when you can pay a little bit of money
Google
every month
Meet
and use Zoom, whatever.
Yeah.
I remember Google Hangouts was nothing but trouble, constantly freezing. You know what I mean? Like, why would you subject yourself to that when for $15 a month or whatever? I just never could understand that. So here is the question. You got to spend money to make money, which makes sense to me, but also if you are unwilling to spend money on the things that will help you do what you love to do, are you actually creating a block to the flow of money that's coming to you?
Yep.
That, by the way, has nothing to do with the witch woman.
Right. Well, I've said it before, and I think it's again, the Ken Honda said it. It's the flow of money. It has to, if you expect it to flow in, it's got to flow out, or else it's going to get stagnant. It just has to flow.
And from a purely 3D world viewpoint, you do need to invest in your business for tools.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to invest in tools.
Right.
Whether the tool is a website, a marketing plan, a Zoom subscription, an accounting package, a CPA, a good attorney, you have to invest in the tools for a business.
And let's face it, an accounting package, a CPA, an attorney, depending on what you're doing, it's not necessary for everyone.
Contract even.
Depending on what exactly you're doing. But certainly an accounting package and a tax professional of some kind is going to save you money in the long run.
Right.
Save you from jail too.
Well, they're not too quick to put small entrepreneurs in jail.
I jest, but it's serious.
But it can happen. I mean, I'm not saying it can. There's a line between things that are civil and things that are criminal, and
Good point.
And P.S. That conscientious objector to the unconstitutionality of the tax system is criminal. That'll put you in jail.
What a load of malarkey. The first time I heard that, I was like, no, people don't actually believe that. No.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Remember Wesley Snipes? Went to jail for that? That was why he went to jail. Oh,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wesley Snipes went to jail for that reason, that unconstitutional thing. Now, maybe Richard Hatch was just dumb, but he was the first winner of Survivor. The very first one.
I remember that.
Won $1 million on a national television show, did not report it on his income tax. $1 million is way over the threshold. That puts you into, evasion. Right? Yeah. And then I think he spent all the money so he couldn't pay. Because if they come to you and say you didn't pay, you didn't report this, here's a bill. If you pay it, they leave you alone. But I think he spent all the money. Unbelievable.
Right.
So
one born every day.
So there is. I often see spiritual entrepreneurs that are in some kind of tax trouble because they don't understand bookkeeping. They don't understand, 1099s and
are afraid of it.
And a lot of, that I had somebody tell me one time they'd rather have a root canal than get their taxes done. And I was like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
But I mean, I get it. They are afraid of it, but it's another one of those things that you can do it wrong if you do it yourself, but if you get somebody that knows what they're doing, you got nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I think one of the main points here is surround yourself with the right professionals for your business.
Right. Oh, and P.S. I'm not available for tax advice. Just
no, but we mentioned CPA, tax, attorney, IT, right?
Right.
You go in a forum, you ask, hey, who do you guys use for IT? Who do you guys use as your business attorney? And you're going to get recommendations.
Yeah, right. And don't ask, should I form an LLC in your mediumship group? Because they can't answer the question. Somebody needs to know your situation to actually be able to tell you if an LLC is smart, which if you're one of those 6-figure people and you have kids, LLC is probably a mistake. Because you report that income on your individual return, and now all of a sudden your child tax credit is gone, and I didn't think of that because I asked my bookkeeper if I should get an LLC. Hello,
right?
But
that
whatever.
Also, that's your health care too.
Yes. But if you have it, whatever, no more tax.
Right, we're going to some great avenues here. So
here is another thing, and we are really getting close to out of time. But here's another thing, and I think this can apply to websites. People use different packages for websites. They use Wix, or I use No Hassle. People do WordPress, whatever. Especially if you get something that's already kind of put together for you. What I see people all the time trying to do, I liken it to buying a McDonald's, taking out burgers, and putting in pizza. Like you connect with some kind of a template because you want it to be easy. Then you go in and you should update that template for what you want and forget about making it like, well, I want this font, but it's not available. How do I upload a font? Or I want this scheduler, but it's not available. How do I do this? Or I want that, so I need this plugin, but every time I turn on the plugin, my website goes upside down. Like, do you really need all this?
No.
I want to connect my Instagram to my website. Why? Nobody cares.
No.
Put a link. People will
No,
go over
yeah.
to Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, but,
Yeah.
but it's funny that people are so, I think when they're new, and I think this speaks to your idea, Melanie, of overwhelm. When people are new, they're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it did this? And wouldn't it be cool if it did that? And I've never seen it on anybody's website where they do this. And what's really interesting is some of the best advice I ever got from web designers is go look at websites for people who do things that are similar to yours,
Right.
to you,
Mhm.
and make it like that.
Right.
Not
Mhm.
make it different than theirs.
Right.
Make it,
Mm.
don't copy it.
No,
Use it
I've
for
seen some
inspiration.
websites that should not be copied in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, that,
Especially in this
it's
industry.
assuming you have a half an ounce of intelligence
Right.
that,
Right. Go look at successful
the ones
websites
that I
are
don't
in
think,
your field.
that the ones that I don't think should be copied are the ones where the people made them themselves.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Or they
Yeah.
had web designers who think they know what they're doing, but they
Right.
really don't.
Right.
Remember those all flash websites?
Yeah,
Oof.
right. Like what I'm talking about is go to, if you're a medium, go to Lisa Williams' website,
Right.
go to
Yes.
what's her face?
Long Island
Long
Medium.
Island Medium's website. Go to JVP's website. Look and see what's on there.
But
And then use things from that. Like they don't have their Instagrams on their thing. They don't
right. Yeah.
they don't have an affiliate link for this, or you know what I mean? Like it's
Use it as inspiration, but don't feel like you have to have everything that they have because
Right.
they're probably not at your level.
that is not what I
So
said.
you don't need like a translator like a big worldwide person might need, right? You just need
Okay.
something
You
basic.
totally missed my point, but okay.
No,
Well-
go and get well, I
Start
heard it
small.
as go and like look at other people's sites and take inspiration from that. I just don't want people to feel like, oh my God, I gotta have this and this and this and this. And
Yeah,
I
but
don't
if
think
you
people
look at
have to
their
have a
sites,
big
they're
thing.
simple. They don't have big things.
Yes, right.
That's the
right,
point.
Yeah.
They're simple.
yes.
You know who's got
Yeah.
big things? People that don't check
Do
out
it
other
themselves.
websites.
Right.
That
yeah,
is the point. Like,
right.
look at
Right.
what other people have. They don't have. All these people want these fancy fonts. You know what? You go on the phone, you can't read that shit.
Right. Exactly. You don't need those
Like you
at
don't
all.
need all that. So that's
No.
my point.
No.
Like,
Make it
don't
simple.
buy McDonald's and take out burgers
Right.
and put in pizza.
Right. Exactly.
So anyway,
Exactly.
well, I mean, actually, we're like basically out of time. Any final points from either of you? There's a lot that we could talk about here.
I'll give one
Mhm.
last thought to leave with. You do things a step at a time. You can always improve on the next iteration. You can always
Yeah.
improve it later. So get what
Yeah,
you
that's
need
a really good point.
now and improve as you go.
Done, not perfect.
Yeah, done, not perfect. Good point.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
and perfect is an illusion anyway, right?
It
Yeah.
is.
Exactly.
And what it looks like today, what you do looks like today is very different from what it's going to look like in a year, and
Yes.
3 years, and 5 years.
Yep. And your services will change too.
And you're
Mhm.
right, and so don't be attached to any particular
Right.
outcome.
Yeah. Yes.
And you're gonna change too.
Yep.
Very true.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, right? Hopefully. Anyway, okay. Well, if you made it to the end, temper tantrums and all, please
Collect your prize at.
Yeah, right. John, you're so funny. We would really love it if you would hit that subscribe button because we have fun doing this and we'd like to share the information. And we've been, well, at least I've been going back and listening to some of the, the older episodes. And we actually have now this, because we've got Friday the 13th coming up this week. We have a Friday, our very first episode was Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Was
wow.
about Friday the 13th.
That's
so
awesome.
watch my Instagram's got links to that. My Facebook page has got links to that, but you can go over to YouTube and you can, it's the very first episode. So
Sweet.
Friday the 13th. So
That's
go
worth a
and-
re-listen.
yeah, go see what that's all about. But there's a lot of really good information in these episodes, and go back and give it a listen. And as it turns out, you can read the scripts or whatever you call it, transcripts also. So look for that. And meanwhile, have a good weekend. And if it's fall where you are, enjoy. And if it's summer like it is where I am, enjoy that even more. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
We'll
Bye.
see you all next week when we talk about, once again, we have no idea.